Hello students, today our topic is HTML, and in this topic we are going to discuss about HTML list. In our last lecture we already discussed on ordered list, and as we know that list is of three types. One first and these are ordered list, unordered list and description list. In order list, basically we maintain the data in a particular order or numbering is there, and but in an unordered list there is no numbering at all. And in the description list, basically we define the data and define a particular term. And as far as numbering is concerned, we can give it by using different numbers 1 2 3 4 etc, and using Roman numbers etc, all row numbers, or we can use English alphabet ABCD, either in capital letter or in small letter. We already discussed these topics in our previous lecture, and as we know that to define a ordered list, you should use OL tag, and then the list of the data items must be defined with LI tag. So OL and LI both used in the combination to define a order list. So these are the two tags to define order list. And order list can be nested also. It means they can be defined inside each other. So a list can be defined within a list or within another list, so that is called the nested of a list. And second our topic is unordered unordered list. So unordered list, there is a marking, but we cannot mark with a number or a sequence by which we can count it easily. So the marking is done by a disc or a circle or a square. So there are three different types of marking in here in unordered list. And for unordered list, we can use a tag UL, and the list of the data items can be defined using LI. And the second important thing regarding to this, that all the tags used within list are all container tag. It means OL is a container tag, LI is also a container tag, UL is also a container tag, and for description list also, the tags which are used for description list um, are also container tags. So first of all, let's start with the unordered list. So let's start first. Let's close all the program here. So some programs are already opened, and you can easily see that for unordered list, unordered our topic is unordered HTML list. For unordered list, you can use UL tag and LI tag, and by default is disk, and disk is nothing but the small black circles. So this is a small code here which represent unordered list here. And why this is unordered list? Because it is represented within a UL tag. So open and close UL tag is here. So just right click and open up notepad and write a program here. Give the name of the file, and same file name will be given to that of the HTML file. So if you want to make a change in that text file, that change should be reflected with that HTML file. So as we know that body tag should be there to define the structure of UL tag. So just write body, because whatever we write within the body must be a part of the web page. And close the body tag, and then apply HTML tag, because HTML tag is a root tag. So just write HTML tag here, HTML, and then close the HTML tag again. Now you can easily see that we start from HTML tag and also close with HTML tag. So closing HTML tag is also there, and within that HTML tag all quotes, all tags are there. Then now just save the program here, save the program here, program will be saved. And then if you want to perform the operation save as, then just go to the all file, then just write, take the same name and just write HTML in place of .txt, because .txt is the extension of text file. Now a HTML file will be created. You can easily see that here. Mozilla Firefox is a file which will be open using Mozilla Firefox. And why it is so? Because Mozilla Firefox is a open, because it is a default web browser for this computer, and for your computer it may be Internet Explorer or Google Chrome. So don't worry, it will be expressed using Google Chrome or Internet Explorer. Now this is a small program, and we just type is equal to disk, just save the program and then execute it. You can easily see that this is the output. Now note, now the important point is that if you type is a basically attribute, and if you want to define a type of a list or to represent the data items of a list, so just write type attribute, otherwise you can ignore it. And if you don't write type attribute, it doesn't mean that it has no type. By default it has a type of disk, so disk is there. So simple, just write type and then after equal and then the proper and the value, and value may be disk, circle, square or none. If you want to select none of these, then you can just write none, because by default it is a disk. So if you explicitly mention type is equal to disk, it will work, it will always work. But if you don't define type is equal to disk, then by default type is also a disk. Second important thing is that type is a attribute, and then after the we place a equal operator, and then after value regarding to that attribute, and this totally attribute is defined within a UL tag. It is very important, within a UL tag. So you can easily see that we write just type is equal disk and execute the same program. It will it makes no changes, because by default it is a disk also. Now let us see. Type is equal to circle here. If you write type is equal to circle, then save the program and then just go to your web page and refresh the web page. Yes, you can see that circle is there. Circle is there. And if you write square in place of circle, then square list item will be represented using square. Let's check it. Just save the program and then close it and then refresh the web page again. Square is there. Different list items are represented using a square. Square. And then third thing, important thing is none. If you want to pick none of these, then just write none in place of square. Just type is equal to none, and nothing bullet will be, no bullet will appear. Just simple data is shown here. You can easily see that. Just refresh the web page. Yes, you can easily see that. So these are the different data types here. And now unordered HTML list, choose list item, marker. So there are three different markers here, four different markers here: disk, circle, square or none. Disk, circle, square and none. None, this list item will not be marked. And there are some few examples here. Example of disk here: code for disk, code for circle and code for square. Now there are two different ways to represent a disk, circle or square. One is simple HTML attribute, that is a type. Just write type as the attribute and then give the value whether it is a disk or circle. And second is in CSS style, cascading style sheet. there is an attribute named style, so you can use style attribute. And using a style attribute you can also put different different types of styles, disk styles, different types of bullet styles. So just write style, and then within a double quotes just write list dash style dash type and then colon sign in place of equal. And then the value is circle, it may be a disk or a square. Just refresh the paper, you can see that this is the answer. So there are two different options by which you can implement the unordered list with different types of marking. So for simplest, I think first one is much more simple than the second one. Just write type and then equal and then the value. It may be square, circle, or it may be square, it may be circle, or it may be disk. Disk is by default. If we don't mention anything, then by default it is a disk. Now just write here. Okay, square, square. Let us check what happens. Hmm. These are the topics. These are some points represented by a square sign. So you have two options. Pick either first one or second one. I think first one is very simple as compared to the second, and that is style. But later on in this CS is a part of the syllabus, so you should practice on style attribute also. It will help you to understand the cascading style sheet. So practice both of them, and in exam if it is asked, then use type attribute. So these are the different style: disk, then circle, then square, and then none if you want to pick none of them, because by default it is a disk here. You can easily see that these are the different representation I already told you. Next is nested HTML list. And what is nested HTML list? Nested HTML list is nothing but only the list inside a list. So you can put a list inside a list, uh, and this concept is called the nested HTML list. You can easily see that there is a list also. Let's define it with the different colors to show which is a nested list. You can see that yellow list marked with a yellow color is a nested list here. Marked with an blue color list. So this is an example of nested list here. Let us check the output of the following code. I think all of you are know the what is the output of the following code. So here black tea and green tea are the type of the tea and must be marked within that tea item. Let us check the representation of the output here. We show, is it show the nested list or not? This is nested, then element should be shown as a part of another element. display perform the copy operation and then just paste it here. But for you just type this program on a pad and always start program from HTML and then after body if heading required then give the head tag. Just save the program. You can easily see that yes, this is a nested list. So both the lists are of same type, unordered list. So first one is represented by default, that is disk, and second is circle. This is an example of a nested list, nested unordered list. And there is no compulsion that you can nest a unordered list within an ordered list. You can nest or declare a list inside a list, and both are of different types, order and unordered. First may be ordered, second may be unordered, or first may be unordered, second may be ordered, like that. There is no compulsion that both of them are of same data types. For most of them are of same type, both of them are ordered, both of them are unordered. So let us check this as a summary. Use the HTML URL element to define an unordered list. I think now all of us are aware of this fact. Second is use a CSS list style type. If you don't use CSS list style type, then use a simple type and then equal, and then you can write disk, square, or circle. And if you don't want to pick up any of these, then just write none. And list can be nested. Of course, list can be nested, and list can be of any type. It may be um, order list, or it may be unordered list. So this is a description of HTML description list. Next, our topic is HTML description list. HTML description list is little bit different as that of order list and unordered list. So basically, this type of list is used to describe a particular term. So for this purpose, description list is used, and the tag is used for the description list is DL. So if you want to use description list, just type DL, and then there must be a term which you have to define. Then this term is written within you have to write this element, this term within dt tag, and then you have to define the data. Then for that purpose, dd tag is used. So three different types of tags are used: dl, dt, and dd. Dl for description list, dt for description term, and dd for description data. So these three are used. You can easily see that. A description list is a list of terms with a description of each term. The DL tag defines the description list, the DT tag defines the term name, and the DD term tag defines the describe each term. Three tags are used: DL, DT, and DD. And there is a small program to show the functionality of this tag. You can easily see that. Just save this program. Okay, remove the first one, and then program of definition list dldt, and then just save a file, and then go to your web browser, refresh the web page, and it will give you a clear cut idea of description list here. So terms are already marked with written coffee milk are the term, and term definition is defined with after defined after dash sign. So this is the representation. So always write the order, always remember the order: DL, DT, and then DD. This is the order. Now this small program again to define the use of description list. HTML, start program from HTML, then body, then there is a heading is there, and then DL to define a description list, and the term is coffee, and then TD, DL, DT, TT, all of these are container tag, and then DD. So here we define its value as a 500, and then DT again second term is milk, and we define it as a 1 liter tetra pack, and then close the DL tag, and then body, and then at last HTML, and then just save a program here, save a program, and then refresh the page, and you can see the output of that program. This is the output of that program. You can easily see that. So DL stands for description list, description term DT, and description data for DD. Simple to learn, simple to remember. DL, DT, and DD. Next is HTML list tags. HTML DL element to define a description list, HTML DT element to define the description term, and HTML DD element to describe the term in description list. These are the three tags used with description list. Now let us take a quick summary of all the tags which are used to define HTML list. These are UL for unordered list, OL for ordered list, and LI to define a list item, DL to define a description list, DT to define a description list, DT is defined to description term, and DD is describe the term in description list. So these are the different tags used in a list. Next, there is example of nested list in HTML. So now there are few important things. First of all, if we nest a list, or if we define a list within a list, then it is not there is no compulsion that both of them are of same type. You can nest an order list into an order list, or order list into an order list. And second important thing is that first of all define a list, and
for define a list, it may be order list on order list. So just write order list on order list in the program. Then after mention its term one by one using li tag, and one tag is we one at one point of time we use ordered list or ol or ul or maybe dl. Then within that list, if we declare ul, ol or dl, that means the different types of list, then it may be the part of previous one. So that is the concept of nested list. So let us check it whether they work or not. This is a small program here, nested HTML list here. You can easily see that nested list in HTML. Try to execute this program on your system and see that whether the output is correct or not, or there is a proper nested in properly nested list are properly nested to each other or not. And if it gives you a clear cut idea, then make another program and try to implement another list on basis of that program. On the basis of that program. Now here I make a little bit change in this program. Just write OL in place of UL, so order list is nested within UL list. So let us check what happens after the execution of that program. Just save it and go to your web page and just refresh the web page. Output will be reflected according to that. Yes, you can easily see that. Yes, you can easily see that here. Here you can easily see that. First one is a unordered list and second one is order list, because order list is nested within a order unordered list. So you can see that marking is by default 1 and 2. So here we don't use a type attribute for order list, neither for order list nor for unordered list. So by default for unordered list there is a type mentioned, and in type is disk, and for order list type is a number. So you can easily see that numbers are comes inside disk, and we show the nest concept of nested list. You can easily see that. Just save the program. You can see the output. This is all about list, and this is all about list. And now list is over. Different types of list we discussed already in this lecture and in previous lecture. So in our next topic we are going to discuss about table. So just practice on list, and especially nested list, and a question will always be asked from list in a board exam, and so prepare for that. Thanks for watching this video.